From BLC Studios in Mankato, Minnesota, this is the Maverick Hockey Live Podcast, presented by Dunkin, with your host, Shane Frederick.
Welcome to another episode of the Maverick Hockey Live Podcast, presented by Dunkin. My name is Shane Frederick. I'm the host, and joining me today is Maverick senior goaltender and NCAA men's hockey record holder, Dryden McKay. Welcome, Dryden. How you doing?
Yep. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. First of all, big congratulations to you breaking the NCAA men's hockey shutout record on Saturday night with a performance against Northern Michigan. First of all, what's been going through your head the last couple days since then?
Yeah, it's been really cool. Obviously the shutout was special. It was important to get the win and the sweep, our first CCHA weekend. But I think the coolest part is just a lot of former teammates and current teammates. Obviously, former teammates, even players I don't even really know have been reaching out, and old coaches, old friends I haven't talked to in a while. It's just been really cool to hear from so many people, and it's just really humbling, and just really grateful so far.
Who maybe out of that group has really surprised you with anyone who's reached out after breaking that record?
I think there's been some players that I've played against have reached out, whether it's Instagram or they've gotten my number through other old teammates, just guys I don't really know and wouldn't really expect to be reaching out, but just shows how tight knit the hockey community is, and especially the goalie community. It's been really cool. And then
go ahead.
Yeah, I know we talked about it before. Ken Dryden actually reached out on Monday to send me an email, and I had to do about a triple take when I saw that in my school email. I was like, oh man, Ken Dryden, and I immediately sent it right to my parents, and I think they were both in shock, and my dad thought it was the coolest thing ever, and it was just, I still haven't responded because I honestly don't know what to say. It's so cool, and just somebody that I've been tied to my whole life, and to finally have that connection is awesome.
Yeah, for anyone who doesn't know, Ken Dryden, one of the great goaltenders of all time, one of the great college hockey goaltenders of all time at Cornell, before going on to the Montreal Canadiens and winning 5 Stanley Cups or
something like that.
6. He won a Stanley Cup and the Conn Smythe award as playoff MVP before he was Rookie of the Year, which is one of the great stats. I love those kind of stats. And of course, your name is Dryden, and named after Ken Dryden, which that's been well documented. But to have a career like you've had, with the pressures of being kind of associated with a great goaltender like that, and then to break a record, it wasn't his record, it was Ryan Miller's record, but to break a record like that and kind of put your name, near Ryan Miller's, Ken Dryden's, whoever else is in the, in the record books of men's college hockey, is got to be something really special. Yeah,
I mean, you said it. It's super special. Just to be up there with those guys is so cool. And 2 goalies that I've watched really closely. Obviously, I never got to see Ken Dryden play live, but watched Ryan Miller a ton growing up, and he was always one of my favorite goalies to watch. And I still remember watching him in the Vancouver Olympics on Team USA, and that's still probably one of the best goalie performances I've ever seen throughout that tournament, and it just inspired me to become a good goalie someday.
Yeah, Ryan Miller played for Michigan State, had 26 career shutouts, won the Hobie Baker Award, and he, then went on to that great career, the Olympics, Team USA, obviously a long NHL career that ended, I believe, after last season. He retired as the winningest U.S.-born goaltender in the NHL. Just another name to throw yours with, and that's got to be kind of fun.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna. He's accomplished a lot more than I have, but I think he got those 26 shutouts in 3 years. So I like to think he'd be probably closer to 40 if he had stayed for that senior year. But he was on to bigger and better things.
Well, and so you tied him a couple of weeks ago. It's against St. Cloud State, and then Saturday night got your 27th shutout. for the men's record. I know there's been some Twitter talk about what the NCAA record is, but you have the men's record, and the women's record is 55, and that's an impressive one as well. I love that just the conversation is out there talking about these great goaltenders, and I think it does a disservice to do a lot of comparison and contrasting. I just think that those records are really really great for college hockey to see both the men's and the women's side, and in college hockey in general.
Yeah, I agree. 27 was really hard to get to, and I don't think there's a chance I'm breaking 55. So,
well, you're eligible to come back for a fifth year, so but that's still a lot.
Yeah, I might need 3 more years to get to 55, but no, the men's record is perfectly fine with me. I'm not going to claim to be the all-time record holder, that's for sure.
That was a game against Northern Michigan. It was kind of funny because you guys won 7-0, and the way that game was going, a lot of goals early, finally got a great offensive output early in a game, which is something that Coach Mike Hastings and some of the forwards have talked about for a couple of weeks, making sure you guys get off to a good start, probably not put too much pressure on the goaltender. You get that. You guys get 4 goals in the first period. Brendan Furry has a hat trick before the game is 25 minutes old. I'm up there writing for the Rink Live, doing some writing, just kind of writing about Furry and writing about the offense. And then about, halfway through the second period, I thought, oh, there's a bigger story that's possibly happening here, and no one's supposed to say the word shutout, but yeah. But better keep our eye on this. And I'm sure it seemed like it was on everybody else's minds too, especially the way the crowd reacted in the last minute, and the way especially the way your teammates reacted. Can you talk about those closing seconds, or even a little bit of the third period, and what's going through your mind? I know you're never afraid to talk about the fact that you got a shutout going and you're thinking about it, which superstitious goaltenders might not tell you the truth on that. But what's going through your mind over that final minute, or when the puck's in the corner in the final seconds, and not only you're going to get a shutout and a win and a sweep, but you're going to get that record? Yeah,
I think after the first, I guess I wasn't really thinking about it. I was just thinking, okay, that was a really good start. Let's carry it over. And then I think once it's, 5-0 after the second, and we've kind of been controlling the play, that's maybe when it starts to creep into your mind. And I think the coolest part for me was, I knew that this would have been the record breaker, but I think it was so cool how everybody else was on the same page and knew that this was it. And then those last few minutes, I was just kind of thinking, this would be pretty tragic if I gave one up here and kind of took the air out of it. But the guys did a great job. We gave up like 2 shots in the third period, and just kind of had to hang in there and just get to the end. So yeah, it was super cool. And the puck ended in our zone, kind of in the corner, so I didn't have a ton of time to react after that buzzer went, and it seemed like Sandy was already hugging me as the buzzer went, so didn't have a ton of time to think about it. And then all of a sudden everybody was there, and just super cool after that, getting to salute the fans and all that, and I'll probably never forget that stuff, and be a highlight of my career for sure. Yeah,
just a great moment for if you haven't seen it, you can go online and find clips of it on YouTube and on Twitter. But just they mobbed you like they had you'd won a championship of some kind, and as you guys always do, to go out and salute the fans and skate around, and then they kind of sent you back out again, and then they had another curtain call as the number 1 star of the game. A lot of attention was paid on you there, and as you mentioned in your post-game press conference, that's probably one of the special things about doing that at home as opposed to having that happen on the road.
Yeah, for sure. I think once I got the one against St. Cloud, I kind of set in the back of my head that I'd love to do it at home. Obviously, I wouldn't sabotage it if I had one going on the road. But no, I'm really glad that it worked out and I was able to do it at home. And yeah, it was maybe a little bit too much individual attention for my liking. I didn't know what to say or what to do at a certain point. But I just can't say thank you enough to everybody. The fans, the coaches, Mankato as a whole. It's just been such a great experience from day one, and I've built some lifelong friendships and some great relationships here in Mankato.
You mentioned in the post-game press conference that it was kind of a prototypical shutout for you, the way, and this is why you consider it a team shutout, or consider so many of these team shutouts, that the way the Mavericks play, the way they defend, the way your teammates block shots, the way they protect leads in the third period so well, really limit opportunities. Can you just talk about that a little bit? Because that's certainly been something that over time here that you've enjoyed as a player. You got to do your job too, but to have that kind of style in front of you that also doesn't necessarily take the foot off the gas when it comes to playing in the offensive zone. I mean, you guys will score goals. It's not like you want to win everything 2-1 or 2-0. It's a full 200-foot game where there's a lot of responsibility. Can you just talk about what it's like to be a goaltender playing in that kind of system? Yeah,
I mean, I think the special part about this team is that everybody has a role and everybody knows what that role is. And I think Saturday night was a lot like a lot of the other games. Nobody has to do anything crazy. Obviously, Brendan Furry gets a hat trick, and but it's not like we need that every game. It's not like we need somebody to go out and have 5 points in order for us to win. And I don't have to go out and make 50 saves and steal a game ever, really. I just have to stop. I have to stop the ones that I'm supposed to stop. Our D have to make the simple plays. Our forwards make the simple plays, do what they're supposed to do offensively, defensively, and the coaches do such a good job of implementing those systems so that it's almost a well-oiled machine at times where everybody knows what everybody else's job is. They know what their job is, and we can just kind of roll that way. And it takes a lot of the thinking out of it for everybody, and you just know what your job is and be prepared to do it every night.
I think one of the interesting things about your career is the consistency. I mean, you're in year 4. There's no question on who the number 1 goaltender is for the Minnesota State Mavericks. And I know this style has benefited other goaltenders previous to you. And I think there was a long stretch with maybe the exception being Michael Bitzer playing at Bemidji State of the Minnesota State goaltender being the WCHA goaltending champion, which is determined by goals against average usually. I'm sure save percentage is probably maybe it's a more important stat. We could talk about that, but whether it was Stefan Williams or Cole Huggins, and we could go on. But not everybody was able to secure the job and hang on to it for that long, for going into a 4th year. Not an easy thing to do. You've had competition. You've had competition who've left after only a couple months because they probably saw the writing on the wall that they weren't going to beat you, or at least not that year. How difficult is that? What's the kind of stress of that you put yourself under to maintain that position? Because throughout the years, as you know hockey well enough, goaltenders, it's a hot hand sometimes, and you can lose your seat for a little while.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of felt that a little bit. My freshman year, I played the first 4 games and won the first 3, and then game number 4 didn't go very well, and it was kind of my fault, as it's Coach Hastings has documented. But and then I didn't play for about a month after that, and I think that was a huge learning experience for me. I'd never gone that long without playing, and I think the biggest thing is the mental aspect. There's some nights where it's not going to be hard physically, but I think a lot of our games, I think the goalies I know going into it that my job is, if we score the first goal, we're going to win a lot of games. So if I can come out and hold the other team off as long as possible until we get that first one, we're going to have a lot of success. And then I know that at the end of the game, we might have to kill a penalty or something, and that's where I'm going to have to shine. And then in between, there might be 10 minutes where I don't face a shot, and I might get a flurry. You never really know. So I think that's just kind of the biggest part of consistency that I've found, is you just got to stay dialed in mentally. And that's different for every player. Some players need to be really intense. Some players need to be really loose. So I think just kind of figuring out the way that we play, and then I think it fits a lot with my personality of being more reserved and laid back and kind of just taking what comes to me and not feeling like I have to force it. I don't feel like I have to make the big save or make a big flashy save to rally the team. I know that I just needed to do my job and come up with those saves, and we need them to give us a chance to win.
There was a little of that this weekend. I think Friday night when you guys scored. I'm trying to remember if it was to go up. Was it 2-1 at that time? And I think right away off the ensuing faceoff, they had a chance. Or very shortly thereafter, you made a pretty good save, and I think the next shift you guys score again, take the 2-goal lead. I think does that sound right? Do I have that down?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, exactly. Just kind of going off of that idea. I think after they went up 1-0, I think we were out shooting them by 20. We just couldn't score, and that can be tough mentally as a goalie to see the other goalie, making save after save, and you're just sitting back there, and you almost get a little anxious. And I think we gave up a 3-on-1, and I was able to stop it, and then I think we scored to tie it up not too long after that. And those are kind of the moments as a goalie where you kind of have to take a little bit of satisfaction, because that's something not many people are going to notice. But that game easily could have been 2-0, but instead it's 1-1, and same thing after we go up 2-1. It could easily have been 2-2, and then now it's 3-1. Those are huge momentum swings, and I think that's kind of your job as a goalie, is to try to control the momentum of the game that way and come up with the save. It's not always about the quantity of saves; it's about kind of the quality and when you make them, and that's definitely been the case with my time here at MSU.
Yeah, I think you could say the same on Saturday too. You had a fairly busy second period by comparison to the third, and even though you had a 4-0 lead. They score 1 or 2, and it's a 2-goal game, and there's momentum going the other way. It's that third period's not it's not going to be as easy just to hold the team down to 2 shots.
Yeah, exactly. That's the cool thing about being a goalie, I think, is that impact you can have on the game with just 1 or 2 saves. And you see both sides of it when your team's down, and maybe you get a squeaker at the other end. All of a sudden, you have all the momentum, and then you know that when you're on the other side of it, that pressure's on you to not give up that goal and not give that team any hope or any life.
How do you come down from last weekend? You guys are getting ready to get on the road. You're going to Ferris State, another CCHA weekend. Were you able to kind of put that away? I mean, I know it's Wednesday when we're recording this, and we're still talking about your shutout streak. At some point, you probably got to call the timeout and say we're done talking about it.
Yeah, I mean, I think this will hopefully kind of be the end of it here. And I think, if I go out Friday and I get shelled, everybody's going to forget about the shutout and say what's going on with Dryden. So, Ferris State's a very tough place to play. That's been the case every year that I've been here. They play so well at home. Things happen fast in that rink, and that's not an easy place to play as a goalie. So just got to be ready for that. And kind of draw on my experience, especially things didn't go so well for me last year, that's for sure. So just be ready to play and move on. And, now the focus is 28 maybe. So that's kind of the way I look at it, is it's, what have you done for me lately? And it's on to the next.
In some ways, is it nice to have the record out of the way? I mean, to go into a season, when you've had 10 shutouts the last 2 seasons, it seemed inevitable, and I know you've said this to me before. Paul Allen, your sports information director, who's a former goaltender, has said this to me before, that shutouts are hard. They don't care how many shots you face, whether it's 6 or 60, shutouts are hard. And but I'm sure everyone thought, well, he needs 3 to break the record. It's going to happen. But I don't know if anyone expected it to happen before October was over. But now it's out of the way. Was that something that you just feel pretty good about? You don't have to worry about the record. Did you worry about the record? Was it on your mind? What, how does that work in your head going into it and going forward?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I was worried about it. I had the confidence that I would get it. But I think if you would have told me that I would have had the first 2 against UMass and St. Cloud, I probably would have thought you were crazy. But I think after how well we played in that first UMass game in front of 9,000 fans in a sold out banner raising night, first game of the season, to shut them out and kind of play the way that we did. I said, okay, kind of here we go again. We're still playing the same way. It doesn't seem to matter, year in, year out, who we have coming back or who we have coming in. And I think just kind of reinforce the idea that we're still playing the style that we played the last 3 years, and this is something that I know how to do. And if I play my game, think good things are going to happen.
Last year, talk about your experience in the NCAA tournament. That was obviously a special run that you guys made. You probably go back to the first period against Quinnipiac and go, this is not the way you want your season to end. But things turned around for you, for the team. You win that game. You shut out Minnesota. You go to the Frozen Four. If you had saved that shot against St. Cloud State, who knows what we'd be talking about, but that would have been a heck of a save because it was a heck of a crazy goal that they scored the game winner on. I don't know how many tips you've seen from the hash marks like that or higher that have done that to you, but just in general, that whole overall experience, what was that like for you?
Yeah, it was really cool. I think it was also stressful at the same time just with COVID. I think because right when we got there, everything came out about UMass and their starting goalie and their leading scorer out, and now we're going into testing. I think we got tested like an hour after that, and it's like, oh my gosh. So that was super stressful. We didn't really get the full experience. We were kind of locked in our hotel rooms the whole time, and but it was so cool to see how well we were treated and how big of a deal it was, and to play in an NHL arena and just kind of the whole experience of it. I think it's hopefully, I know personally, and I know that a lot of guys feel this way, we want to get back there. We want to get the full experience. We want to go there, hopefully the Frozen Four and with the idea to win and not just be happy to be there. Like I think we kind of were last year. We want to go there and say, okay, this isn't good enough. We're here to win a national championship. And I think that's kind of the attitude that we have right now, and we need to carry out throughout the season.
How does this team compare? I mean, you're only a month in, so how does it compare to last year? A team going to the Frozen Four. I know last year was a unique experience. Like you mentioned, COVID. It was the COVID experience throughout the year, starting the season a little late, playing a lot fewer games, playing in front of no fans. That whole experience can be, probably, just such an outlier compared to everything else that you've experienced. But what do you like about this team that you're on right now? And is it just a continuation of last year with some different pieces?
Yeah, I'd say so. I think we're really tight off the ice, which is probably the most important part. We all gel. Everybody gets along, which is, you can't always say, I can't say for every team I've ever been on. So I think that's really important. I think we've got a lot of talent. I think we've got a lot of guys that are bought into what their role is and what they need to do. And we've also got a lot of competition at every position. So that makes everybody better as well. And I think that, we're headed in the right direction, and we just kind of have to stay grounded right now and take it day by day and weekend by weekend and just continue to build towards the end of the year.
That competition include the goaltender position?
Oh yeah. No, they're really good goalies, super hard workers, both Keenan and Millsy. So they've been pushing me. They super hard workers, really good in practice, really good supportive teammates. So I can't ask for better with those two.
That's great. I mean, that's I'm sure you can probably teach them a lot as well, and I'm sure they love having you around to learn from. And do you feel like you can be a mentor to young guys who, they're going to be here after you're gone, whether it's after this year or I have no idea if you are going to do a fifth year or what's going to happen, or see how this year goes first, right?
Yeah,
but
exactly.
It's so crazy with all the extra eligibility people get, and you guys have a couple teammates back from last year. And but do you feel like you can teach those guys a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, I try to give them. I don't want to teach them, really. That's not really my spot. I try to lead by example. Maybe give them tips as far as stuff to do around the rink that's going to keep them out of trouble or keep them from getting yelled at by somebody, stuff like that. But Otherwise, yeah, they're really good about asking questions too. Going into a weekend like this, just trying to explain how hard it is to play at Ferris, and tell them about the other rinks in our conference, stuff like that, other players, just anything. I've kind of seen it all through the years and played against a lot of these guys before. So just giving them experience, telling them about my journey. It wasn't easy either. I went through my ups and downs, and just telling them that they're going to go through their ups and downs, and not that I was perfect, but just kind of hoping that they can learn from me.
When you go back to your freshman year, and you mentioned that stretch where you didn't play for a month or so, and Matthias Israelson was there, and a guy who transferred in from Northern Michigan, and but a guy who I know Coach Hastings talked a lot about the way he went about his daily routine, his daily business, and really thought that you learned a lot from just watching him. So as you mentioned, like leading by example, that you picked up a lot about, maybe being I almost said a professional. You're not a professional, but you're certainly go about things in a professional way as a Division I college athlete. Is that what you kind of have in mind when you think back on that experience?
Yeah, I mean, I'll say that for sure, that these Andrew and Keenan are way farther ahead than I was my freshman year. I was a guy that I came in, I got to the rink and I sat in my stall until it was time to put my gear on. I didn't do barely any preparation. I didn't really know what preparation was. I wasn't great in the weight room. I wasn't, I was very raw that way with, off ice stuff. And I think Matthias, he was the first one at the rink every day. He was working out before practice, stretching, doing cool downs after practice, getting his treatment in, doing extra stuff on the ice for practice. And that really opened my eyes to, okay, like this is no joke. This isn't juniors anymore. This is, kind of a man's game up here, and you got to be prepared every day. And just seeing how much pride he took in his preparation, and then I also learned the hard way how much practice means for Coach Hastings. If you're bad in practice, you don't have a hope of playing in the games. So learn how to deal with that. And I'll say it. I mean, Keenan and Andrew are really good at they're right there with their preparation and the way they approach practice, and they compete during practice. And yeah, they're definitely farther ahead than I was, but hopefully they can continue to keep that up. And if they can learn one thing from me, it's a success in my book.
That sounds good. Well, Dryden, I really appreciate you joining the podcast today, and best of luck this weekend against Ferris State, and best of luck the rest of the season, and congratulations once again on your outstanding record.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
All right, this has been the Maverick Hockey Live Podcast, presented by Dunkin. He's Dryden McKay, record holder. I'm Shane Frederick, not a record holder. We'll see you next time.